Have you ever thought about what it takes to start your wealth in real estate investing? Today, we're going to be pulling back the curtain on our personal journeys and talking about the wins, the challenges, and the struggles that we've had along the way. Even if you're a first-time investor or you're looking to take your investments to the next level, we're going to be packing this episode with a bunch of tidbits that you could use to take it to the next level. Thank you for joining us today.
All right. Well, good morning, Sharif.
Hey, Peter, how you doing today?
Doing great. How about you?
Awesome, man. Can't complain. Let's talk and dive deep into what we've done personally in real estate investments that basically have given us a little bit more freedom on the financial side of things.
Yeah, no, I mean, I got into real estate because I was intrigued by the real estate investing side to begin with. And for those that don't know, it's just I was going to a lot of these investment meetups that they were used to host back in the day when Bigger Pockets had like a big presence here also in New Jersey. And I think I just learned a lot from just surrounding myself with other people and like-minded people, and then just hearing how people were just doing really well and able to achieve financial freedom through real estate. And I was just very intrigued and kind of opened my eyes to it. And I guess what about you, Sharif? How did you, I guess, learn about real estate investing to begin with?
I mean, honestly, my first investment property was my own personal property. It was like a house hack per se. I purchased a property and then, my wife and I, at the time, she was still my fiance. We were looking to purchase another property and it just happened by chance, Peter. I mean, the fact of the matter is I had purchased my house back in 2006. And when we went to go purchase our next property in 2014, we were still like, a little under what we needed to be at, even to just break in by selling that property. So we ended up renting that property, my first property that I purchased, and that was the start of it. Now we're making about $1,000 a month on that property, so thank God I kept it. But really, that was the start to get, of how we began our investment, actual journey. So
Yeah.
that's really what it came down to. How about you, Peter? How did it start off for you?
Yeah, I mean, similar to you. Actually, I believe I was 28 or 27. I can't remember. Maybe 28 when I bought my first property. I was commuting back and forth. I had a W-2 job at that point, and then I was looking to move out of the area that I was in, which is Jersey City, because I was looking to settle down. And I always knew that I want to at least buy my first house in the beginning. So I didn't have the down payment. And what I did was I had a nice car that I had just bought a couple of years prior to that. And I ended up selling that car to be able to get the down payment for that house. And that was in 2014. And the house back then was really cheap compared to what I can sell for now. I think I bought it for like 230,000, Fainwood, New Jersey, which is unheard of. But it was kind of a fixer-upper. So I ended up doing some work myself and hiring some help alongside of me. But I learned through YouTube how to change windows and stain floors and all of that because of my budget was very tight. I didn't have the money to begin with. And then through that, I was like, it was amazing. Like, it was a house that we first started in, and then now it gained over 100% appreciation in that time since we bought it. So similar to you, I mean, this is what it was. It was like, kind of a live and flip, and we lived in it since then.
Nice. So, I mean, that's a great situation to be in right there. And I'm sure you're going to leverage that when you find another property. You can just rent the one that you're currently in. It's probably the most popular house hack because you generally get better interest rates in an owner-occupied property. So the fact of the matter is, like I purchased properties as an investor, the interest rate tends to be 1% at the minimum more than an owner-occupant. So that is definitely a good hack. So number one, living in a property, living it in enough time where you're actually, financially stable and then able to purchase another property and then rent out the original. So that's definitely something that I took advantage of. And it was one of the, successes that we had along the way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one of the things that I would have done differently, because now I know a little bit more, is that I would have bought a multifamily first instead of a single family house. I was so concerned or so focused on being in an area in a good school district, which is great. But at that time, I wasn't even married yet. Even if you're, once you start or you plan on having kids, they're not going to go to school for at least 3 to 4 years. So school doesn't matter that much. So, if somebody's listening to this and wanted to get their first investment property, I would look into a multifamily first, because that will eventually get you more return, especially income wise, at least in North Jersey, other than, South Jersey or whatever. So like it's easier to get more return and more income every month on the multi.
Yeah, totally agree to that. And the fact of the matter is, it's not always fun. You're not always going to have success. I can tell you with that first house, we've rented it ever since then. We started renting in 2014. We've rented it for about 10 years now. Along the way, there's been struggles. We've had tenants in there that unfortunately didn't pay and they ruined the property. I've lost probably a total of $30,000 on one tenant on that property. So everyone thinks that it's all fun and games. There's the
Yeah.
struggles right there. You know what I mean? You're going to encounter certain things along the way, they're going to not be what you planned for, right? So that's definitely something. Anything like that happen to you, Peter?
I mean, it is a business at the end of the day, and there's got to be risk. There's no business without risk overall. So I didn't have, I guess, bad experiences with tenants yet, thank God. But what I did have was bad experiences with contractors. And we did a flip. I think it was like the last, our second or third flip. I can't remember. And then we had a contractor that was pretty good, was highly recommended, but he just took forever. And then we found out that he doesn't even have a license. So we found out that after 6 weeks from hiring him, and it was already too late. And then it was during the summertime when every contractor was busy. So that also cost us money, obviously a holding cost, and then finding a contractor last minute, because in the summertime we had to pay a premium for, and even then that contractor was not the greatest. On flipping, and we can talk more about house flipping too. Yeah, there's also a risk there because you're dealing with a lot of these contractors. But as far as going back on multifamilies, like you mentioned, one of the things that most people don't consider is the repairs and things that go wrong with the property. Yes, if you're making $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year. You have to replace a roof, or you have to replace your heating system. There goes all your profit, or most of it. So you have to factor in some money to keep aside for capital expenses, because those things will happen over time. But yeah, we've had that happen in our multifamily, and we had to replace the roof and the boiler in 1 year, and at that point we were already in the negative for that year.
Yeah, I totally hear that. I mean, that's the fact of the matter. You got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
And there's going to be bad along the way, just like there's good. But there's a couple types of investments that we have. We've bought and held and rented, and we've also bought, rehabbed, and flipped. There's just different. It depends on your situation. I personally like to try to hold properties as long as possible to try to avoid the capital gains on it. And also, try to work on the appreciation and benefit from that. Doing such, there's certain terms out there like BRRRR. Peter, why don't you tell us what BRRRR means? Because you're the one that actually enlightened me with the term.
Yeah, sure. So the BRRRR method is buy, rehab, refinance, and repeat. So it's pretty much you're buying a house and you're rehabbing it. So it's something that you're going to either live in, or most likely it's going to be something that you're living in. And then once you rehab it, fix it up, it most likely is going to appreciate in value. Then you refinance out of that house so you can pull the equity, and then you can buy something else with that equity that you pull out from that house, because at that point it already had appreciated a significant amount. And it's pretty much ends up being like a snowball, where you're using the equity in the house that appreciated to buy another house without having to come out of pocket with a lot of money. And then a lot of people end up doing this multiple times, where all they did was just put a down payment on one house, and then they keep snowballing their portfolio, and then expanding and getting more properties just by doing that, which is a great strategy really for somebody to just get started in.
Yeah, I mean, what's your latest example of that, Peter?
Yeah, I mean, the latest example of that, I mean, we had a single family house that we ended up buying, and then we did pretty good on it, and then we ended up using that equity to buy a multifamily that we just bought this year. So it turned out great. I pretty much didn't have to use any of the down payment. It was pretty much all the equity. So I pretty much got a multifamily for free, because of the appreciation that I was able to get out of that house.
That's awesome. I mean, we just did it earlier this year. We were able to purchase a property at 145. Needed a little bit of work. Wasn't too bad. We went in there, did new flooring, paint. We did new floor in the kitchen. We did a new bathroom, a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. It was in Trenton, New Jersey. Again, we paid it 140 for it. We probably put maybe like 25 to $30,000 into it. Able to find a renter. We rented it out for 2150. We were able to do a cash out refi. So a cash out refi is when you actually take the equity out of your home, or at least 75% of that equity. So we did buy that house cash initially. We did do the renovations. We rented it out for 2150. We actually refinanced that. It came back at an appraisal of 225. So we were able to refi all the money we invested into that property. And our payment for our mortgage is only $1,350. So we're making about $800 a month on that property. And the initial investment is zero because of the fact that we did do that refi and pull our investment out. So, I mean, that was one of our better success stories. We're in the process of doing the same thing again currently. We did pick up a property for 275. We have about roughly 50,000 additional put into that property. So it took us up to 325. We're nearly done with it. We're going to refinance that, and combined with taxes and homeowners insurance and the actual payment, our actual mortgage should lay around 2,400 with all that combined. We're looking to rent that property out for 3,000. So we'll cash flow $600 a month. And again, we'll be able to refi and pull our money out, the initial investment of 325 from that property. So initially we're not really spending money to actually purchase the properties in the long run, but we are going to be benefiting from the refi of it and also the cash flow and appreciation. I mean, I know recently, Peter, you actually had picked up a 4-family, correct?
No, that's a 2-family.
2-family.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a 2-family that we ended up fixing up. We got it off market. And it was actually through networking, right? It was actually a common friend of ours that reached out and said, "Hey, I have this deal. The owner doesn't want to put it on the market. He's also a real estate agent. He just kind of wants to offload it because there are tenants there. It's hard to show when there." And then we ended up getting the deal done and securing it. So a lot of times people will say, "Oh, it's really hard finding deals in our market." However, if you know the right people and you surround yourself with the right people, you may get opportunities like that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I believe we said this before in another podcast, your network is your net worth. As
Yes.
long as you surround yourself with other people like this, you will get opportunities like this all the time. And then now we bought it for 440, and then we put in about, I would say, $55,000 into it in rehab cost. And then we have our mortgage is about 3,100, and we're renting the place for 4,300. So, we're also netting, a little bit over $1,000 a month right now. And the beautiful thing is that the water is separated, because typically in multifamilies, you have the same water meter and the landlord just have to pay for the water. So it's got separate water meters. So we don't have any utilities that we have to take care of. Everything is being paid by the tenant.
Gotcha. So, I mean, that's definitely like, say, a buy and hold. Did you have any recent flips, Peter, that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, we had one also before that, and it was actually a pretty. I wouldn't say it's a flip. It's almost like we bought it, and then all we did was we put it up, we fixed it up a little bit, we removed the carpet, because we bought it at a good price, and then we put it on the market, about $100,000 more than what we bought it for, and just because of the location that it's in, we had multiple offers within the first month. And that's thanks to you and the other people that we were talking to that day, because I was asking, I wasn't sure if I should go ahead and actually fix it. And now we were actually planning to move into it. But at the same time, you guys were like, well, why don't you just put it on the market and see what happens while you're getting estimates and quotes, and I was like, oh, maybe this is a good opportunity to get leads out of it while we're getting quotes. And the worst thing can happen is ever just take it down. And then I was surprised by the offers that we got, and there were pretty good offers, and we ended up making pretty good amount on that. So that was
Yeah.
one of
You
them,
made
and
like
we had
6 figures on that one, didn't you?
yeah, Yeah, then we really put no sweat equity in it. Very minimal investment, which is great. I mean, those don't come very often, but you got to be looking, right? And it all starts by looking because we also had a conversation that year. We're like, you should be buying more investment properties. And this is when we're like, okay, let me start looking. And then all of a sudden, these opportunities starts popping up, right? But if you're not looking for them, you're not going to see them, or you're not going to you're not going to get lucky. Per se, if you're not really focused on getting those opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, we had almost the same success. We did do a little bit more for the property. We picked up a property for 220 earlier this year. We probably put like 50 into it, taking us up to about the 270 mark. We did list that property and were successful selling it for 395. After, taxes and commissions and all that, we roughly made $113,000 on that property.
Amazing.
So there's potential out there, right? But you're right, Peter. It's almost like when you're shopping for a Honda, right? You tend to see Hondas out there a lot, right? It's the same thing. It's like you're not going to see real estate investment opportunities until you have that mindset of wanting to invest. So you really have to, structure yourself where you're surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded, doing the same thing because an opportunities come up. And then, you'll
Absolutely.
either get a buy and hold or a flip opportunity. Either one works for us. I prefer a buy and hold, but if you can make up to six figures on a property, there's a good chance that you should be flipping it and taking those proceeds and using it for something else.
Yeah, and also wanted to highlight something you talked about, and one of the main benefits I think of doing a cash out refi or a HELOC is that you don't get taxed on the money that you pull out, which is a great benefit, right? So, a lot of times you will get taxed if you sell it and having to buy something else. And that's why the BRRRR strategy is a really good way, again, and the utilizing refinancing or HELOC, home equity lines of credit to buy another property. You will not have to pay taxes, and versus you selling that property and buying something else.
Totally
So,
agree. Totally agree. I
and
mean,
that's
it's a great,
huge.
great hack right there, man.
Yeah,
The fact that refining, you don't pay tax on it and you get your money out.
yeah,
Where rather if you were to sell it, you're paying capital gains on it if you're selling within the 2 year period.
absolutely. I mean, I guess what can people do? Like, if you're advising somebody that wants to get started in real estate investing altogether, what should be their first step?
I mean, first step is get yourself around the people that are also doing it, right? You're the average of the seven people that you hang out with the most. So my advice is go hang out with people that are investing. You're going to pick up things along the way that, you might not know now. And that's going to help you capitalize on your first investment or your next investment.
Yeah. I mean, especially for real estate agents too, right? I mean, we want to also let real estate agents know that you guys come across so many opportunities that sometimes clients are not interested in, and you may think that this is a good deal, right? As a matter of fact, I'll tell you, one of my first flips that I've gotten, it was similar to that. I ended up getting a client that was an online lead that ended up being a total scam, that was asking me to go around all these properties. This was my second year in. He was like, hey, do virtual tours for me. I'm in a different state. And he gave me like, oh, a hard money pre-approval loan, never saw the property, got one of the offers accepted. Then you try to cut the price in half after inspection, which was obviously a total, scam. And then he would put like 10 offers on, at a time on different properties. So once we ended that relationship, because he was, we felt like this was not going to be a good relationship to work together, because he doesn't even want to show up to the property. One of those properties came back and said, hey, if you guys are still interested, the seller will accept that offer. And it was a pretty good offer. So I ended up taking that deal because that client was not around anymore. So at that point, I was like, light bulb went out. I'm like, well, I should be looking for myself too, not just for my clients, right? Because not every deal is going to be about, it's going to fit what the clients want, but it can fit what I want, right? So just as you're spending time looking for deals for your clients, also put some time together. Like, even if it's a half hour a day, especially to realtors, I think you should still put some time together to kind of look at the MLS, look at, the deals that are coming through, build relationships with investors, sailors, and also real estate agents, tractors, and then just let them know that you're looking for a multifamily. This is your budget because you may get opportunities like that.
Awesome advice right there. I mean, anything else you want to add before we end this podcast, Peter?
No, no, I think this is pretty much it. I mean, I think again, guys, just continue to grow your network. I think this is the biggest thing. If you want to end up growing your business, you have to be around the right people. So make sure that you find your local real estate agents. So if you're in New Jersey, feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to connect and network with you. And this is really our goal for this podcast, is to reach as many people as possible so we can build a pretty big network.
Yeah, definitely consider us your network. If you have any questions or any issues or just struggles, go ahead and comment below. We'll be sure to get back to you. Also, if you guys are liking this type of content, feel free to like, subscribe, and we'll be pumping out more of certain, topics similar to this.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Have a productive week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Go out there and kill it, guys. See you later. Bye.
Go. Bye.